There's a specific kind of madness that sets in around the 8th hour of a solo cross-country drive. It's called highway hypnosis. Your brain enters a trance. The road becomes a conveyor belt, and you're just an observer in a metal box, hurtling through a void. But there's a threshold, a point where the road stops being a way to get from point A to point B and starts becoming something else. In the world of the in-between, we call this the 3 a.m. threshold. Pause. If you're still driving at 3 a.m. on the US Interstates, you aren't just traveling through space, you're traveling through time that has gone stale. The air outside gets heavier. The radio stations bleed into static, or worse, into broadcasts of talk shows from 1994. And then, you see it. Out of the corner of your eye, past a cluster of dead pines, a glow appears. It's not the harsh LED white of a modern Pilot gas station. It's a soft, buzzing hum of neon, blue, orange, a flickering sign that says, vacancy. You're tired. Your eyelids feel like they're lined with sandpaper. You think, I'll just pull over, just for a few hours. That is your first mistake, because the motel you're looking at, it's not on your GPS. It wasn't there 10 minutes ago, and if you check the records tomorrow, you'll find that the Silver Saddle or the Starlight Rest burned to the ground in 1978. Welcome to the Liminal Gateway. Why do these places exist? Architects call them non-places, areas designed for transients, motels, airports, service stations. They aren't meant to be lived in. They are transit points. But when a space is defined entirely by people passing through it, it loses its weight in reality. It becomes thin. When you pull into a phantom motel, you've slipped through a thin spot. Notice the silence. At a real motel, you would hear the hum of a nearby highway, the crickets, maybe the distant bark of a dog. Here, nothing. The air is pressurized. It smells like ozone and old cigarettes, the kind they stopped selling decades ago. You walk toward the front office. The bell on the door rings with a sharp, brassy chime that feels like a physical punch to your eardrums. Behind the counter is a man, or something that remembers what a man looks like. He's wearing a polyester vest. His skin looks like parchment. He doesn't look at your eyes. He looks at your throat. Room 104, he says. He doesn't ask for a credit card. He doesn't ask for ID. He just hands you a heavy plastic key tag. It's warm. It's vibrating. Inside the room, the liminal effect reaches its peak. The carpet is a dizzying pattern of browns and maroons. The TV is a heavy wood-paneled box. You turn it on, expecting the news. Instead, you get a loop of a local weather channel from a town you've never heard of. The current temperature is listed as 0 degrees. The forecast is just the word waiting, scrolling endlessly across the screen. This is where the in-between starts to feed. Most people think ghosts are the danger, but in a phantom motel, the danger is the room itself. These spaces are hungry for permanence because they only exist in the fringes of our reality. They need to anchor themselves. They do that by taking you. Have you ever noticed how, in these stories, the person always mentions the window? In a normal motel, you'd see the parking lot, your car, the road. In a liminal gateway, the window shows you something else. Maybe it's a forest that shouldn't be there. Maybe it's just an endless gray void. Or maybe it's a view of your own childhood bedroom. But everyone in the room has their backs turned to you. Do not look out the window after 3:15 a.m. If the outside notices you watching it, the door behind you will no longer lead to the hallway. It will lead to the same void you're looking at. Let's talk about Marcus. 1998. Marcus was a courier. He knew the roads like the back of his hand. He was driving from Denver to Chicago. He called his wife from a payphone at 2:45 a.m. He told her he was exhausted and found a little place called the Sleepy Willow, just past North Platte. He never arrived in Chicago. The police searched that stretch of I-80 for weeks. There was no Sleepy Willow. There hadn't been a building on that plot of land since a farmhouse was torn down in the Dust Bowl. 6 months later, a hiker found Marcus's car. It was parked in the middle of a field, 3 miles from the nearest road. There were no tire tracks leading to it. The car was locked from the inside. Marcus's keys were in the ignition. His luggage was in the trunk. But Marcus was gone. The only thing they found was a receipt on the dashboard. It was for room 104. The date on the receipt was April 12th, 1998. The time of checkout? Never. Why 3 a.m.? In folklore, it's the witching hour. In science, it's the point of lowest human body temperature and deepest REM sleep. But in the physics of the in-between, 3 a.m. is the cooling point. Reality is like a fabric. During the day, the sheer volume of human observation, billions of eyes watching the world, keeps the fabric tight. We observe the world into being. But at 3 a.m., on a lonely stretch of US 50 or I-10, there is no one watching. The collective consciousness of the world has shifted into sleep. The fabric sags. It gets loose. When the fabric sags, the in-between, a dimension of pure, unformed memory, leaks through. It takes the shape of things it finds in your head. Why a motel? Because you were looking for one. You needed one. The in-between is a predator that mimics your needs to lure you into a space where it can digest your timeline. The VHS grain you see in these found memories isn't an aesthetic choice. It's temporal interference. It's the sound of two different versions of now rubbing against each other. The orange and blue neon? Those are the specific wavelengths of light that the in-between can most easily manifest. They are the colors of a dying star or a dying memory. There are entities that live here. They aren't ghosts of the dead. They are static people. Imagine a Xerox of a Xerox of a person. If you stay at a phantom motel long enough, you start to lose your resolution. Your memories of your home, your name, your favorite food, they get blurry. There are reports from survivors, people who realized something was wrong and fled before dawn. They talk about the staff, the maid who was vacuuming the hallway at 3:30 a.m. One survivor, a trucker named Elias, said he walked past a maid in the hall of a motel in Nevada. He said she was wearing a uniform from the 50s. When he said, "Excuse me," she turned around. She didn't have a face, not in the horror movie way. She just had a blur where her features should be, like a motion-blurred photograph. She was humming a song that Elias recognized as a lullaby his mother sang. But the melody was off. It was missing the notes that made it feel safe. She wasn't a person. She was a placeholder. The motel was trying to look busy. It was trying to look normal. If you find yourself pulling into a parking lot and the vacancy sign is the only light for 50 miles, you need to follow these rules. Your life and your existence in this timeline depends on it. Rule 1. Check the mirrors. When you enter the room, look in the mirror. If your reflection is delayed by even half a second, leave immediately. Do not grab your bags. Just run. The room hasn't finished rendering your presence yet. Rule 2. Do not use the vending machine. The snacks will look familiar, brands you remember from childhood. But if you look closely at the best buy dates, they will be years in the future or years in the past. If you eat the food of the in-between, you become part of the in-between. You'll never feel full again. Rule 3. Set a physical alarm. Do not trust your phone. The digital clock on your screen will eventually start counting backward or displaying symbols you don't recognize. Use a mechanical watch or a wind-up alarm. You must be out of the room before the sun rises. If it rises. Rule 4. Ignore the knocking. Between 3:45 a.m. and 4:15 a.m., someone will knock on your door. They will sound like someone you know. Your mother, your spouse, your best friend. They will say they forgot their key. Do not open the door. The in-between is trying to verify if you're still solid. If you open the door, you're inviting the transition to complete. Rule 5. The exit rule. When you leave, do not look back in the rearview mirror until you are back on the main interstate. If you look back, you might see the motel dissolving into mist, or you might see yourself still standing in the window of room 104, waving goodbye. Let's say you make it out. You drive until the sun is high and the world feels solid again. You stop at a Starbucks. You talk to a barista. You feel safe. But there's a lingering side effect of visiting a liminal gateway. You'll start to notice small changes. The layout of your grocery store is slightly different. Your neighbor has a dog you don't remember him having. You find a key in your pocket. A heavy plastic tag. Room 104. That you can't seem to throw away. Every time you try to toss it, you find it back on your nightstand the next morning. You didn't escape entirely. You just brought a piece of the in-between back with you. And the motel? It's still out there. It's waiting for the next tired driver. It's waiting for the next 3 a.m. It's waiting for someone who just wants a place to rest their head. The US Interstate system is more than just roads. It's a massive concrete web that holds our reality together. But every web has holes. Every web has gaps where things from the outside can crawl in. The next time you're driving late and the coffee isn't working and your eyes are heavy, look at the signs. If you see a motel that looks a little too perfect, a little too vintage, keep driving. Don't worry about the exhaustion. Don't worry about the gaslight. Just keep your eyes on the road and your foot on the pedal. Because it's better to fall asleep at the wheel of a car in this world than to wake up in a bed in that one. Stay on the road. If you like the story, please subscribe the channel